Bobrovsky off the case. Can they tame the Cats to their own habitat? We get you set for Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well on this Monday. Tom Gazzola, YouTube Trev with you. It is the pregame show as we get you set for game number 2 between the Oilers and the Florida Panthers in the Cup Final. A shout out off the hop to one young YouTube Bartholomew Trev for doing a fantastic job filling in for me on the pregame show heading into game 1. We're live on location at Hudson's White Avenue. Absolutely gorgeous outside. People starting to fill in. And there's a lot of Oilers orange and blue in here. It's going to be packed. Connor's already, look at him. He's busy. He's got his McDavid jersey on. Come say hi to him. He is the manager here. Shiva's ready to go. She'll be making sure everybody's drinks are refreshed and that they can eat whatever they need to eat. And the entire staff here. Absolutely tremendous. Patio, I'm assuming, is going to be packed as we await game number 2. Text us, as always, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. I saw a bunch of you in there already. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And hit the thumbs up on your way in, like taking off your shoes when you're going to a house party. Also, I should add that GCL Diesel, our proud sponsors, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialists, and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. Matty Cassian will be joining us just after 5. And then we've got Dennis Bernstein, who will be stopping by in about 2 minutes. DB, I know he's our Kings insider, but he is also down at the Stanley Cup Final with David Pagnotta, our Hello Hockey insider, and DB will be giving us the scoop from Sunrise, Florida. He's been a busy boy, that Dennis Bernstein, and we appreciate him giving us about 10 minutes today on the pregame show. All right, YouTube Trev, let's get you on here before DB gets on here. How did you feel about your first game hosting? What are you shaking your head at? You did great, kid.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like I said it on the morning show. I didn't get a heck of a whole lot of experience in college because of COVID and whatnot. And there was so much going on, Tommy. Like it was, you make it look so easy, but I was there and like people were like waving at me and then, trying to listen to the boys and just navigate conversation. But the nasties, they really helped me out and all the kind words. Just looking at it now, John T and Victoria, Jimbo, everyone, Jen Cole. Yeah, you guys, you made it a memorable night for me. And shout out to Belzy and Cass as well. They definitely helped me out quite a bit. But it was cool, man. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it was, I'll remember that night for forever. It was so sweet to be a part of and learning from you, just watching the show all year, right? It made it easy. Oh yeah, there it is.
Is it dusty out here?
Yeah, but it was cool. And then just having Dusty come by afterwards just to shake my hand and the smile on his face, he was pretty pumped for me. So I was like, that was really cool. So yeah, all in all, like obviously I wasn't perfect. I'm not saying I was perfect. Still a lot of room for improvement. I forgot one liner and I feel bad about that, but that's okay. It was my first go and it's only up from here, Tommy.
Attaboy, YouTube Trev, filling in for me admirably. Belzy as well. And then Cass was great. Fantastic pregame show heading into game 1. But here we are going into game 2. Edmonton looking to bounce back after a 3-0 loss at the hands of the Panthers. And, interesting conversations going into this game. People saying, well, that wasn't Florida's best game. Edmonton played really good, and how much of it was what Edmonton was able to do, dictate the pace, control the play, everything but score on Sergei Bobrovsky? How much was it the fact that maybe, I don't even know if that was Edmonton's best game. Like, it was a damn good one and good for them, and I don't think it really deterred them either that they dropped that game. So we'll see. I think Edmonton does a good job of adapting. I think it takes a little bit of time for them to figure things out, and will Bobrovsky do that to the Oilers again? I don't know. I don't think he will. Apparently, he has a penchant for doing that every now and then we'll see if Edmonton can get to him and get to him early. So, as we await Des Bernstein, he's almost ready to go. I will throw out the question of the night. Text us 780-218-9999 or get into the nasty chat. You know the routine. What area of the game do you want to see improved from the Oilers in game number 2? One more time. What area of the game do you want to see improved from the Oilers in game 2? And before you say goal scoring, shut it. We know outside of that. So let us know your thoughts in the nasty chat and in our inbox. All right, DB is ready to go. We're going to get to him. And as we get set to bring him on, I'm going to remind everyone that portions of this hour are brought to you by 100.3 The Bear, Edmonton's best rock. Catch Dusty Nielsen on every morning with Yukon Jack and Scott McCord weekday mornings, and tune into Jess Jackson on your way home from work every afternoon. Had a chance to catch up with Jess to preview game number 1. And to help us preview game number 1, it is our Kings insider turned Stanley Cup insider, the one, the only, Dennis Bernstein. DB, what's going on? How you doing, pal?
How can I be at the Cup final and not do Edmonton sports talk? Come on, Tom.
You have to. I need to get you on here.
Let's go. Exactly.
Are you animals behaving yourselves?
Yeah, for the most part. We're saving it until we get to Edmonton for 3 and 4.
Okay,
then we'll really misbehave, without question.
I look forward to that, but we will do some good work in the meantime. All right, DB, we'll get right into it because I know you're busy and you've got a bunch of hits you need to do. So with this Panthers win in game 1, 3-0 over the Oilers, a lot of people around here in Edmonton, myself included, actually liked what we saw from the Oilers in that game, and I just think it's as easy as solving Bobrovsky.
Yep.
Is it easy to solve Bobrovsky? What say you after watching game 1?
Well, I agree with you. I've done them the last couple of days. I've done hits. You can't be mad if you're the Edmonton Oilers off of game 1. You did everything but score.
Yeah.
How about lifting the puck? Because you're not going to beat this guy low. It's as simple as that. You have to shoot high on this guy. And I know it's hard to do when you're, in the moment and stuff like that. But they did everything right except score. Look, the 2 goals, we know why they scored them. Right?
Yeah.
Back checking wasn't great. Kassian Nurse wasn't great on 2. But I got to assume that if they put through the same effort tonight, they'll come home with a split without question.
DB joining us from Emirates Bank Arena down in Sunrise. All right, what's the vibe you're getting from the Panthers players after that win? Do they recognize that they need to be better? I know we were talking about on the Nielsen show this morning that Ray Ferraro said that wasn't Florida's best game. DB, how much better are they going to get? What do you expect from them in game 2?
Yeah, I think they got away with one. They know that there's only one guy who played elite the other night. That was number 72, right? Everybody, I was shocked, Tom, the way this game started, the game 1. I think the shots were 12-3, 11-3 in favor of the Oilers the first time. You would think game 1 at home, they're going to come out ferocious. They weren't ferocious Panthers in game 1, and they found a way. And that's what you got to do sometimes. One thing, Tom, if you look at the Stanley Cup playoffs, there's not a lot of scoring.
No.
There really isn't. There's 3 players who have double-digit goals, I think. One's at home, and Wyatt Johnson, and Leo and Zach have double-digit goals. So I think it's another low-scoring affair, but they know they have to be way better. And I'm really interested to see tonight the first 10 minutes from a Panthers standpoint, because I got to think if you're Oilers, you want the same script, but the Panthers got to come out way better because they can't get away with that. If the same game in game 2, like I said, it's going to be a split coming back to Rogers.
Dennis Bernstein joining us now all the way from Sunrise, Florida. Great to have DB back on the program as we get set for game number 2. I'm live on location at Hudson's White Avenue. Starting to fill up, DB. You're going to like it. The vibe around here is great. If you're watching this from an Oilers point of view, what are you saying to your group, DB? Do you have faith in Edmonton elevating its game? Does it need to elevate its game? What did you see from an Oilers standpoint?
Well, look, I don't criticize the Oilers much, but I think that Noblock went overboard with the changes in game 1. Why put CC and Nurse back together after winning 3 straight and Fogle in the lineup? I don't here's the thing. You want more from Leo and Zach, but I can't really criticize the effort. Sometimes you play great and lose. And that's what happened in game 1. And if you say the most of the Oilers fans were satisfied with the effort, they just didn't win. Yeah, you have to go and replicate the effort because they dominated. Here's the thing. You would think that the Panthers would dominate puck possession, but they didn't.
Yep.
And the one thing you got to be aware of, Tom, and I've said this a couple of times the last couple of days, look at the Panthers, the three rounds that they got here to the Cup final, right? First round, they played Tampa, and they played Vasilevsky. Second round, Boston, Swayman. Third round, supposedly the best goalie in the league, Shesterkin. And the Panthers beat all 3 guys, and Bobrovsky beat them. That's the one X factor, is that they don't need Bob to play great for another 10 games. They need it for another 3 games, and that's it. And you see the focus, you see what he's done. But, you got to take your chances. You got to go replicate the same thing. There's not much to change, Tom. I get the lineup changes, but the actual 60 minutes of play, what can you do? You tip your hat to Bobrovsky, and you try to get game 2.
All right, we're going to see Vinny Desharnais in for Cody Ceci. Did you think Ceci and Nurse were that awful? They got shredded on the post-game show, and a lot of people wanted to see change. They're going to get it tonight, DB.
Well, we'll see. I would make the change because you won 3 in a row without them playing together, and then they went back. Then that's the one. Look, I can't. Chris Noblock has done a phenomenal job, and I've credited the guy. He's changed the paradigm in Edmonton with respect to how they play hockey. And I didn't like that move. It wound up burning them, but it was only 2 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you get the normal offensive output and you win 4-2, nobody's talking about it. There's no narrative, and he probably doesn't make the change. But you got it. It's just not working. And I think Nurse away from CC will help. Yep. I just think that combination, for whatever reason, Tom, it doesn't work. And you're too late. You're in the Stanley Cup final here. You can't leave that to chance at this point in time. Make the change. And Vinny, you know what Vinny's going to do? He's going to hit some guys. He's going to block some shots. So if he does his role and doesn't try to do too much, and that's the one thing. Sometimes CC and Nurse try to do too much. I will tell you that Vinny Desharnais will not try to do too much tonight.
Good point.
And maybe that's what they need.
All right, DB, I'll ask you this. Matthew Tkachuk played 13:57 in Game 1. I thought that was a bit odd. Are you picking up on anything? Is there some discussion as to why? What's your take on that?
I think he just wasn't effective. The team wasn't effective offensively, Tom. So I think you went to your – and plus, in the third period, he wasn't going to play a lot because you don't want that nonsense. You don't want a penalty. You know, Sam took the bad penalty on the bad interference call, wound up not costing them. I think that Paul Maurice was just cautious, saying, okay, we don't want the nonsense running around. And they played great defensively in the third period. They really did. If I'm the Panthers, like, maybe I want more offense, but the way they played in the third period was great to see if you're a Panthers fan, because that was really good defensively. I think it's just time and opportunity, and he really wasn't effective. So you sat him in favor of guys who were more effective defensively.
All right, Dennis Bernstein from the fourth period and SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, among many other things. What do you expect in game number 2 tonight?
Well, I'm going to keep betting the under, Tom, until I lose. And I think that was the easiest bet in the world in game 1. Both teams had 7 days off, 5.5,
there he is. Bob Stauffer, friend of VST. Had to get in there.
I think another low-scoring affair. And we did our pregame video. I said Edmonton 3-2. So I still think it's a low-scoring affair. I don't think a lot of offense. They'll probably get a couple of power play goals. So I like the Oilers to even the series going back to Edmonton for game 3.
Yeah, and you know what? People love you here because you speak the truth, and they hope you're right tonight. DB, thank you so much for the time. I know you're a busy boy, and I'll see you when you get back to Edmonton, okay?
Always great being on EST, Tom. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
All right. Love you, brother. There you go. There's Dennis Bernstein, and surprise appearance from the Bob father, Bob Stauffer, coming by. You know Bob loves it. Anytime he can get some FaceTime on EST, he has to get in there. And what a combination, hey, Trev? We get Bob and Dennis Bernstein at the same time.
That was
you're watching on YouTube.
That was pretty cool. I saw him too, eh? Like, you just see him peek his head on the corner, and then I'm like, does he know? He saw. He clearly saw you. He was like, oh, I know this guy. That was really funny. I was chuckling away there. That was awesome.
You saw that spit-eating grin on Bob's face. He had to get his damn face on there. So good to see Bob, and I know they're all having a great time. I saw that the Elbow Room has been the place to be in Fort Lauderdale. It's absolutely tremendous, and I know where the place to be is. Tonight, it is Hudson's White Ave. We are live on location, pre- and post-game show, and it's going to fill up. People start to trickle their way in. Lots of orange and blue. Very excited for tonight's game. Could Edmonton bounce back? Dennis Bernstein thinks so. I like their chances of making it happen. Florida's going to be a little bit sharper, but that doesn't mean Edmonton still can't walk away with the split down in South Florida. All right, I put out the question of the night. I'll throw it out there one more time because we have to get to Dennis really quickly. What area of the game do you want to see improved from the Oilers in game number 2? If you answer score goals, that's vetoed. It's other elements of the game. We all, I'm sure, want to see them score goals. And so we're going to take that element out. But what area of the game do you want to see Edmonton improve in game number 2? Is it how they handle neutral zone transitions? Is it how they handle the attack through the neutral zone and off the rush? Is it their, back pressure? I mean, there was a couple of times the Oilers on those goals, they were slow getting back. Yes, the defense made mistakes, but so too did the guys not being back and on their horse in time and allowing for Hagee and Rodriguez to score those goals. So let me know what you think. If you're driving right now, don't drive and text. Appreciate that. But if you're listening on iHeartRadio, tune in or the EdmontonSportsDoc.com audio player. Text us 780-218-9999. If you're watching on YouTube, you can get into the nasty chat. What say you? Let's get to YouTube Trev and his thoughts on the question of the night. What do you want to see? What area of the game, Trev, do you want to see improve from an Oilers standpoint, outside of goal scoring, obviously?
I mean, yeah, like it's tricky, man, because they played really good. Like it's hard to find something to improve on aside from the fact from scoring. I mean, one thing maybe is, and I'm not going to just pin it on Stuart Skinner, but like allowing the first goal on the first shot. Yeah. That's attention to detail. So I say just being a little bit smarter, a little bit quicker on getting out of your own end. As far as the offense, I mean, they just need to score, but like they're getting their chances, Tommy. So I wouldn't say that they have to improve much on aside from scoring, but just quick ups, better ups, maybe being a little bit more physical, but just bearing down on your chances as well. Like this team doesn't give you. They don't give you any time and space. Like you saw it just on 5-on-5, but even on the PK, like they are so aggressive. So they're gonna bite on some of these chances, and when you do, you have a little bit more time and space. And the Florida Panthers, they do not give you time and space. So just bearing on those chances, but then just playing a little bit more smart in their own end, and just get out of there. Just a great first pass, which is what it was nice talking to Belzy about, because he's blown away, and I mean I'm pretty blown away with how Broberg's played. Yep. So, he's looked like
a really good game one.
Totally. Yeah. So, that's probably what I'm leaning towards, Tommy. Just a little bit more attention to detail on their own end. Back check. Like if you're not going full stride and you're back, like, while you're back checking, you have to. This is, I don't know why you're not, right? This is the Stanley Cup final, and you look how close, like if Zach Hyman, closes that gap, it could have changed the outcome of the game, right? For sure. So,
and Kane as well on the second one.
Exactly. And so you're that close, you're in the Stanley Cup final, you have to be back checking 110%, Tommy. So just a little bit more effort coming into their own end.
I would like to see, when they do get man advantage opportunities, I would really like to see them simplify and then find with quick heads up passes and plays the odd man situations that they could create in the Panthers zone. I know it's tough when you've got one guy right on top of you, second layer coming at you, because the Panthers did a great job of that with the Oilers. I think simplification might help as well. Just get pucks to net, funnel them, create chaos in front of Bobrovsky, and then maybe you can bang home some garbage and let a guy like Zach Hyman go to work. Let him do his thing. Elevating by Bobrovsky because he's so good down low. Obviously, that would be great as well. But I do want to see simplification on the power play. Easier said than done. Listen, this is a good PK from the Panthers, and they gave the Oilers fits in that first game. But the Oilers are really good at adapting. They're good at playing the cat and mouse game. They study the video, and they make the proper adjustments 9 times out of 10. Heck, with how good the power play has been all season, especially in the postseason, I would say 10 times out of 10 or 9.5 times out of 10. So that's what I'm looking for tonight. That is our responses to the question of the night. 780-218-9999. Text us your thoughts. What area of the game do you want to see improved from the Oilers in Game 2? We're vetoing score goals, obviously. Let's get into the minutia of it, if you will. All right, we're going to get to some audio right away. I do want to throw out starting lineups and starting netminders for everyone who's tuning in. And for the Oilers, there are going to be some changes. McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, and Hyman, that stays the same. But here's where it starts to differ from Game 1. Leon Draisaitl with Dylan Holloway and Adam Henrique. And then you've got Ryan McLeod with Warren Fogle and Evander Kane is what we're expecting. And then if Sam Carrick, who is a game-time decision according to Chris Noblock, is good to go, expect him to play between Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. On defense, Ekholm with Bouchard. No change, though, in that regard. They have been excellent together all postseason for the majority of the regular season as well. Nurse with Vinny Desharnais. No Cody Ceci. He's expected to be a healthy scratch. And you've got Brett Kulak paired up with Philip Broberg. That pairing generally has been pretty good. There's our friend VR Montenegro, who has used my vape charger, which he gifted to me a few times. There he is. Hello, Mike. Good to see you. Out for the Oilers tonight, Ceci, Ryan, Perry, Gagner, Stetcher, obviously, with the ankle surgery. So if anything changes, we will let you know, pass it your way. As for the Florida Panthers, here's what we're anticipating. Alexander Barkov, a.k.a. Sasha, between Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart. Sam Bennett centering Matthew Tkachuk and Evan Rodriguez. Anton Lindell between Eetu Luostarinen and Vladimir Tarasenko. Kevin Stenlund with Steven Lorentz and Kyle Okposo. On the blue line for the Panthers tonight, Gustav Forsland with Aaron Ekblad, Nico Mikkola with Brandon Montour, Oliver Ekman-Larsson with Dmitry Kulikov. No Lomberg, no Cousins for the Panthers unless something changes. And again, we will let you know when the teams hit the ice for warm-up. Let's go to the starting goalies. Let's get a little bit windy. The banner that we have, our EST banner, looks like it might sail away inside the bar. Oh, boy. All right, between the pipes for the Oil, no surprise, 25-year-old Stu Skinner, 11-6 this postseason, 247 goals against average, 897 save percentage, 1 shutout in 17 playoff games. Skinner lifetime in the playoffs, 16-12 record, 293 GAA, 891 save percentage, 1 shutout in 29 career playoff games. And then at the other end of the rink, Sergei Bobrovsky. The 35-year-old is 13-5 with a 208 goals against average, 915 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 18 playoff games in 2024. Lifetime Bobrovsky, a 42-40 record in the postseason, 283 GAA, 907 save percentage, 3 shutouts in 88 games in the postseason. There you go, starting goalies as well as lineups as we get set for game number 2. Okay, we're going to get to some audio. Cass will be joining us in about 10 or so minutes. We're live on location at Hudson's White Ave. Come on down. And there's a lot of tables that are reserved, some big ones, but there is room if you're flying solo or if there's 1 or 2 of you and you want to watch the game and do it amongst a lot of Oilers fans. There should be room for you to squeeze in. The patio also open, and the weather for the most part pretty good. Maybe bring a light jacket. That's about it. All right, Trev, where to first? We're going to go to Chris Noblock. You want to do that?
Yeah, well, let's hear from the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers first. This is Chris Noblock.
Lineup changes. Looks like Cody's coming out and Vincent's coming in. Can you just maybe give us a thought on why you made that change and if you have any other ones coming up?
No, we just have Vinny, who's played very well for us this year. Whether it's been through the playoffs or regular season, we have a lot of confidence in him. He can move the puck out. He's a big defender. We just need to, we've inserted some new bodies, new life into our lineup throughout the playoffs, and it's paid off. So we've got an excellent, capable person who hasn't been playing the last few games. We feel that he can help us.
We'll go fourth row on the right page.
Chris, Connor was just talking about with the lineup changes that we've seen throughout the postseason, everyone keeps the same mentality. They understand everyone's pulling on the same rope. Can you just explain what that does to your room in terms of the fact that they all keep that same mentality and positive attitude no matter if they're in the lineup or not?
Well, throughout the year, I've talked about this team being very, very close, very tight, and very dedicated to win. And whatever role that they get, whether it's a first-line player or fourth-line player, in and out of the lineup, whatever it is, they've always checked their egos. They've always thought about the team first. And because of that mentality, when we've inserted those guys, we haven't missed a beat. We haven't changed the style of play. We haven't done anything differently. We just have guys who are reset and refocused and are able to help our team move forward.
Front left, Mark.
What's it like, Chris, going to a guy like Cody Ceci, an NHL veteran, played 79 games? I assume you talk to him, maybe your assistant does, but how do you tell that guy that he's coming out of your lineup at this moment?
Yeah, it's not easy. You've got a player that's been a big part of our team and has played very well, and we've had those difficult decisions with other players throughout the playoffs. And it's not easy for me. But, I think what I talked about with Paige there, answering her question is, we're in it for the best for our team. And we feel that this is something that's going to help our team. And maybe it's not fair for Cody coming out of the lineup or whoever it was in the past, but we feel that the lineup changes that we are making, either we're adding more speed, more size, more scoring, a penalty killer, whatever it is, we feel that that slight advantage or that change is going to help us move forward. And there's going to be a time where Cody's back in the lineup because we need what he brings.
Front row right, Kevin.
Chris, you were talking a few seconds ago about role players. One I would like to ask you about is Sam Carrick, a guy I've known for a good long time. What's he brought since he's come to the organization in terms of being able to provide what you need out of him when he plays?
He's been great. We wanted some depth to our lineup. And, here's a guy that's been doing some penalty kill, key on faceoffs. Especially we don't have any right-handed centermen. Him and Derek Ryan share that responsibility. He's been great on the face-offs. And, through the regular season, he's chipped in with some offense. But, I think the biggest thing is just his defensive play has been really strong for us. And also adding some.
All right, that was Chris Noblock there. We got a bit of him in and talking about the lineup changes, a little bit of size as Vinny Desharnais is in for Cody Ceci. And you caught something there, Trev. Did I say Forsland instead of Forsling? Must have been thinking of Johnny Forsland, who was calling the series on TNT in the third round. My good friend, John Forsland. But my bad, nice catch. Trev, all right, we can go back inside the locker room down in Sunrise. Who do we have next?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind hearing from these two. Here is the captain and both forwards of the Edmonton Oilers, Vander Kane and Connor McDavid.
You expect to play in tonight's game, and how are you doing managing, obviously you've talked about the injury that you're going through. How you feel you're doing kind of managing that through this long playoff run?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be playing tonight. It's a Stanley Cup final, so I think everybody's geared up and ready to play, and there's lots of guys going through different things. So I'm excited about tonight's game and responding from game one.
Third row left, Derek.
Hey, Connor. Chris has made some pretty tough calls throughout the playoffs with guys in and out of the lineup. It looks like you're making another one today with Cody coming out. I just wanted your thought on the depth of this team and the fact that there are guys challenging to come in and out of the lineup, and it looks like it works out for the most part.
Yeah, I've said it before. We got great depth. We've got 16, 17 NHL forwards, and probably 8 NHL D-men. So, there's going to be lineup changes. Chris has made, and the coaching staff have made some different decisions along the way, and everybody's done a great job of stepping in and contributing, and guys who have gone out have stayed ready and jumped back in and helped just the same. So we got great depth, and it's unfortunate that guys have to not play some games, but everybody's pulling on the rope here. Everybody understands where we're at, and yeah.
Front row right, Kevin.
Connor, the Max Celebrini and some of the other top prospects are here. I wonder if you can recall your tour after the Combine coming to the Stanley Cup final. What was that like, and have you met these guys yet?
Yeah, really fun. I was in Chicago, the Chicago-Tampa Bay final. Can't remember which game, but it was really cool. Just getting a chance to meet some of the guys. We met Kane and Taves and all those guys. So we just chatted with them a little bit before jumping in here. So seemed like some great kids. They said they had fun at the Combine, which we were surprised at. But yeah, no, they'll. It's an exciting time for everybody, for those kids. Any advice? Well, it doesn't really matter where you're picked. Ultimately, it doesn't matter you're first or those kids will only be in the top 5. But it doesn't really matter where you're drafted. That's kind of just the start.
Second row left, Josh.
Connor, I want to know what George Mumford means to you and to this group.
Yeah, he's been great for our group. He's brought in for this reason, to help in these moments, in these big moments. And he's done a great job of, being there for guys, talking about, the mindset in these pressure situations. And I think our guys have done a great job of playing in these big moments. And he's been a big part of that.
Front row left, Mark.
Vander, hockey history is filled with guys who play, courageously through injuries. Paul Maurice talked about Tkachuk playing with a busted sternum last year. How do you're doing that now, you're playing through an injury. How do you balance playing hurt, helping your team at this time of year, but not being a guy who can't perform because of the injury?
I forget, there was a sports commentator that was talking a few years ago, and it always stuck out to me. If you're on the field, nobody expects you to be, everybody expects you to be yourself, essentially. So if you dress, they expect you to perform like, you're at your best. So obviously, there's reality, and but at the same time, I think as an athlete, that's what you expect from yourself. I expect to contribute the way I know I can, and I'm looking forward to having another opportunity tonight to do that.
Stay in the same row, Pierre.
Connor, I'm wondering if you could talk about your relationship with Glenn Gulletson, who's now working with his 5th different head coach, sort of a glue guy with all these changes over the years. And of course, you've been there the whole time. The power play, it seems like you guys have a pretty strong bond.
I got a great relationship with Gully. He's been the coach I've worked with the longest, throughout my time in the NHL, almost in my career now. Been with him for a long time, and we've been through a lot together, just like the players have. And he's been great with the power play. Obviously it speaks for itself, but he's making sure that everybody's prepared, knows what their role is on the power play and their job is, and he's very prepared. He's great at what he does. He's a great coach, and we're lucky to have him here.
Standing on the left, Chris.
Connor, obviously these series get so hyped up and everything from our end of things. Did you feel more pressure in game one? Like what was the actual experience like to play a game like that?
Maybe initially the first little while, but ultimately it's just the same old game. And even even today feels a little bit more normal than the other day. So once we get into the playing hockey side of things, it's just that's what we do. That's what we do best. That's what we love to do, and that's when things get more normal.
All right, that was Connor McDavid and Evander Kane down in Sunrise, Florida, as they get set for Game 2, looking to bounce back after losing Game 1, 3-0. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. If you're listening on your drive home from work, getting set to go out to watch the game somewhere, and you don't have a place to go, might I suggest Hudson's White Ave starting to fill in. PR Montenegro has been a good teammate. The light blew over. He came to pick it up, and then he also has some weight on our banner, which almost sailed away because the breeze has been coming through this fine old building on the corner of White Avenue. Also, I should mention GCL Diesel, presenting sponsor of the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show. Great to have them on board. GCL Diesel, by the way, specializes in giving your diesel engine's heart a second wind. We test and remanufacture fuel injectors, pumps, and turbos for a wide range of applications, breathing new life into vital components. All right, one more time, question of the night. I will throw it out there, 780-218-9999, or the nasty chat if you just tuned in. What area of the game do you want to see improved from the Oilers in this second game of the Stanley Cup Final? I know goal scoring is the obvious one, so let's go below that. Let's dive deeper than just score some goals. We can do that as a collective. I've got a couple of texts I want to get to. Buried the Cheater says more hits by Darnell Nurse. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I like that. Maple Jed says LFG, TG, and YTT and Cass, the Oil need to avoid getting jobbed by Bob again. That means more chaos in front of the net. I like that, Maple Jed. Let's go to Big Slam Nasty. Texting in says physical aspect. Florida brought it to the Oilers in Game 1. They need to finish every hit and keep them on their toes and get it behind the Panthers defense. Make sure that you make them play and capitalize on the miscues. Or make sure you make them make the play and then capitalize on the miscues. Big Uke says, Bob stole Game 1. He can't steal 4. Time for Connor to steal Game 2. I think they will get the W tonight if they play like last game. I'd expect the power play to make some adjustments and score on 1 or 2 tonight. Also, sustained ozone time. Get a couple more good. long cycles. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. I see the big man is ready to rock. All right, let's bring him on. He is our game analyst, Matt Kassian, for Game Changers, I should say. Cass, how are you, pal? Good to see you. How did it go last game with Trev?
It was good. No, Trev did awesome. True professional. No, he did great. Was looking sharp, Tommy. You got some competition for best hair.
I trained him.
Definitely already beats you for facial hair. And he was looking pretty sharp. So he might be making a push for best dressed as well, Tommy. You better watch it.
Look out for Corporate Trev, as he's been nicknamed, which is absolutely awesome. All right, let's get into Game Changers with Matt Cassian. Brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting. Remax Elite, Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He's community-driven and understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com. Or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting or Real Estate Cast Numero Uno. Big boo-boos.
Big boo-boos. You had two big boo-boos, Tom, last game, one by Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci, that ended up costing you the 2 goals that ended up being the difference in that game. Now, the Oilers didn't manage to score anything, which didn't help them or help the team overall, really, because you're not going to win if you don't score. But those 2 major mistakes are what costs you, and that is the difference in a hockey game and in the Stanley Cup final. Those big mistakes in big moments or key moments, they can absolutely burn you. Can't have that tonight, Tom. They've done a really good job for most of the playoffs, bouncing back in games, not letting things string together, run together. Not that they played poorly. They played very, very well last game, but those big mistakes hurt them. They did it to themselves in that game, Tom. They did it to themselves. Can't do it to yourself tonight. You have to force Florida to find a way to score on their own without those just massive errors.
Cass, how much fault lies on the first man back from a forward standpoint? Because we saw, was it Hyman on the first one and then Kane on the second one? And Belzy brought that up the other night on the post-game show where, there was a couple of mistakes. And I said, well, we're talking about what Cass always brings up, and that's compounding mistakes. And that led to those goals. How much falls on the back pressure from the forwards being that, stride too late?
Yeah, I would say on that first goal, not at all. I mean, I don't think that was the forward's responsibility. The defenseman should have recognized it was a clear 3-on-2. It was a clear 3-on-2. Darnell Nurse shouldn't have pushed over aggressively. He should have played his 2-on-1. Cody Ceci should have played his 2-on-1. And yes, you would like a forward to get back with some back pressure, but you're not faulting them on that one. Now on the next goal, I think you could look and say, okay, yes, Darnell Nurse has to have his stick on the ice and has to be aware and has to make a play. That puck can't go through. But it would be beneficial to have a little bit of extra help from a forward coming back. So you can put a little bit on the forwards in that, but typical Belzy, of course he wants to blame the forwards because he's a defenseman, so that's what they all do. It's always, I got my guy. It's the forward's fault. So typical Sean Bell.
Well, what is he going to respond by saying typical forward say it's always the defenseman's fault? He could counter that, right?
Like rightfully so, he should.
Okay. That was number 1. Big boo-boos. Number 2 here on Game Changers. Get one early, Cass.
Yeah, breaking that Bobrovsky mythos that he built in game 1, I think will be important. Finding a way to get to Bobrovsky and score a goal early is going to be big. The longer you let him run with it, the longer you let him feel it, the better he's going to be. If you can crack that early, it's going to go a long way. Now, we know the first goal is important, but even more so for Edmonton this game because you didn't score any last game. Like you have that air of invincibility around Bobrovsky. And as I chatted with a couple people, and it really is this, when Bobrovsky falls apart, he really falls apart. Like he's either usually really good or he's not good at all. And if you don't want him to work his way in and to continue to feel like he's on top of the world, you got to pop one early. So the start of this game for the Edmonton Oilers is really, really important. On top of that, I think Florida is going to push more. They're going to push more. They're going to recognize that they stole the game. They know that they got outplayed and outplayed dramatically, but they stole one because of their goaltending. They're not going to want to rely upon that again. So you're going to see a push early from the Florida Panthers where they're going to want to really establish their game, which is something they didn't do overly much. Now, they got the 2 goals, yes, but they didn't establish their overly physical, control the puck, aggressive type of game. They never really got there. So you're going to see them pushing for that, especially early in this hockey game. So even more important for Edmonton to push early, to get one early, put one behind Bobrovsky, and hopefully, answer that question of the night for you.
All right. It is Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite with Matt Cassian. Number 1 is Big Boo Boos. Number 2 is Get One Early. And then I want to interject here and say, if you have any questions for Cass in regard to the game and any of the system stuff or strategic play, hit us up via the text line 780-218-9999. And then if you want to do it via the nasty chat, get in there if you're watching on our YouTube channel, please and thank you. All right, number 3 on Game Changers tonight, Cass. Keep up the pressure.
Yeah, part and parcel with number 2, which is getting one early. I think keeping up that sustained pressure that we saw at times is going to be very important. I did like that they got pucks to the net. They created all kinds of opportunities. Now, they didn't score on them, but they at least created them. And then you just want to see that continued pressure. We know now that Edmonton has the ability against the Florida Panthers to control a hockey game. They have the ability to control a period. They have the ability to control a shift. And from line 1 down to line 4, they can do that. They can do that. They showed us that they can do that. And really important, Tom, again, and I mean, maybe it's cliche to say that you need the 4 lines rolling and pucks going to the net, but that's really what you need. You need to continue to get pucks to the net, create those chances, and keep up that pressure. I mean, we saw at times McDavid with his speed, even on like an Aaron Ekblad, there's a couple plays that McDavid was able to beat him with some foot speed, and some of the other Edmonton Oilers at times were able to get to the puck, to the net with that. And you just have to have more of that. You have to have more of that. When they applied pressure, Tom, they were good. They had opportunity and they had puck control. Now you got to be able to bury it. They didn't. You have to be able to solve Bobrovsky, and so far they haven't. But Tom, heading into tonight, if they can basically play the same way in the offensive zone, except put the puck in the back of the net, they're going to be okay.
All right, Cass, there was discussion earlier in the day, and a few people have said this. That wasn't Florida's best game, and Dennis Bernstein was on here earlier. He added to that. He said, no, they need to be a bit better, and we talked about how the Oilers had the momentum and all that. How much better can the Panthers be? And then does that force Edmonton to elevate its game, or can it play that same type of game and get a better result by just converting on a couple of goals? How do you look at that?
I think if you're Edmonton and you play the same type of game, you're going to win most of your games. Now, that could still be tight. Maybe I should walk that back just a little bit. If they play the same type of game without those grade A mistakes, if they don't make those big mistakes and they play that same type of game, you're going to win more than you lose with the number of opportunities that you generated. Like if you play that way and are able to establish your game that well, you should win a Stanley Cup in this series. You should. Now, Florida will have something to say about that. And I think, of course, it becomes much tighter. And I think the game, if Edmonton plays the same way and Florida raises their game, it will be a tight game where you'll see a more equal number of chances on both sides. So it will be tight. It will be close. But and I always say after watching a game, your opinions change. And I know Florida didn't bring their best game. But watching Edmonton at what they're able to do at times in that game, I kind of go, okay, if both these teams are playing at their best, I'm probably picking Edmonton. That being said, you got to bring your best because Florida is going to be bringing it a lot more than they did in game 1.
Yep, absolutely. All right. It is Game Changers with Matt Cassian, Tom Gazzola, live on location, Hudson's White Avenue. People starting to fill in. It is looking good. Lots of orange and blue in here. YouTube Trev, not corporate Trev today, holding things down back at ESTHQ. Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Text us, 780-218-9999. If you have any questions that you want to bounce off of Cass, fire them our way. And then in the nasty chat as well. Cass, are you yelling at people on the nasty chat already?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I haven't yet. There hasn't been anyone that said something dumb enough to yell at, so I'm not yelling yet.
Okay, Box Pounder says, Tommy, better hair, Matt, better playoff beard. Cass's hair is looking really good. I've got the weird light because of all the background light, and I've got the lights on me. So, Cass, you're looking ready for Game 2 of the Stanley Cup.
You look like an angel, Tom. You look like an angel. It's beautiful.
Thank you. That's very nice of you, Cass. Like a cherub. I have something I want to bounce off of you, and it has to do with the changes to the lineup. I want to get your thoughts on this. Desharnais coming in for Cody Ceci. Broberg played a good game 1, I thought. Kulak, I think, has been steady. Nurse played the least amount of minutes out of the entire defense corps the other night. I thought that was maybe indicative of something as well, but CC is the guy that comes out. Desharnais is the one who goes in, and then Sam Carrick in as well for Corey Perry potentially. I know he's kind of listed as a game time decision, but if these are the changes that do come into place tonight, and this is what we are expecting, what do you make of them, Cass?
Yeah, well, we'll focus more on the defensive one because I think that's the bigger one, and I think more certain at this point that that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
I would say this is more indicative of Darnell Nurse's last game than Cody Cece's.
Yeah,
and the minutes I think speak to that, but you're not going to pull Darnell Nurse from the lineup. And if you're trying to settle him down to give him a different look, and you really liked, and Broberg had a great game. He played very well last game. So you got to run back with him. Skated the puck well, moved it well. He just had a solid game. And the Darnell Nurse and Cody Cece pairing, obviously, -2 with the 2 goals against, and you're looking to make a little bit of a change. Well, this is the change you're going to make. Now, Desharnais and Nurse have played together before. That's a big line or a big pair. That's a physical pair. They have the ability to punish opponents a little bit, to be nasty in front of their own net. And so when you're looking at that, you're going, okay, especially if you try to manage their minutes, depending on how the game's going, you're hoping you pull some more of that physicality and raise Darnell Nurse's game back up again. And again, more indicative, I would say, of Darnell Nurse's last game than Cody Cece's. But Cece's the guy that you're going to pull out between the two of them. Darnell Nurse isn't coming out, and that's where the decision ends up being made.
Sam Carrick for Perry, anything there? Or just speed or, I don't know, muscle? I don't know. Right-handed face-off, man. We heard Chris Noblock talking about that. What kind of difference that might make? Get a guy on your strong side.
I think a little bit. And you've seen Carrick step in on the fourth line, and that fourth line be pretty efficient and physical and have good possession and offensive zone time. And so if Corey Perry is, it's a game-time decision, and if he's nicked up or banged up with something, well, putting Carrick in, from a fourth line standpoint anyways, you have a group that has shown to be reliable so far in the playoffs, and you're probably pretty confident or comfortable putting him out there.
Edmonton on the power play, Cass. 0 for the other night. PK holds up. PK's been strong all playoffs long. That has been an absolute boon for the Oilers in this postseason. But on the power play, I know Florida was aggressive. What expected changes do you see coming from the Oilers with how they try to attack the Panthers when they have the man advantage?
Yeah, well, when a team's playing very aggressive, which Florida is, and I thought they had some chances. Their power play had some chances. Like, it wasn't like it was, they don't score, but it wasn't like it was completely dry. Aside from one, it wasn't, I would say, momentum building for Florida.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like Florida built all kinds of momentum off the kills. Edmonton just didn't get it because they didn't score.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with, and Edmonton will do this, when you're dealing with high pressure penalty kills, which is my favorite type of penalty killing. I think those are the toughest. If you execute them well, they are the toughest to beat because you never have full possession or control, or there's just, there's no easy plays in that. Now, when you're facing a team as a power play that has high pressure, you're going to want to move the puck, particularly around the outside of the ice, quickly. And that's it. So on the tape, off the tape, because if you move it 2 to 3 times, all of a sudden that aggression opens things up and spreads things out. So you have to hold on to the puck probably a little bit less than you normally would, knowing that there's high pressure. It has to be, we'll call them automatic outs, and that's typically what they're called. So your pressure valves, automatic outs. There's a couple different terms that players will use for it, but it's moving the puck quickly. Know where your automatic outs are, because if you're able to move it 2 or 3 times, all of a sudden, it becomes a little bit more running around the penalty kill. A little bit more difficult to hold your lanes. You get a little bit more tired, and then things start to open up. So the first, we'll call it 2 to 3 passes under pressure. Those are by far and away the most important. If they can execute those cleanly, all of a sudden the ice will open up and they will be able to generate more opportunity on the power play.
Cass, I want to read this one. Great breakdown, by the way, as always. This comes in via Julia, and I think you're going to enjoy this. I was kind of skimming through it. I'm like, okay, this I need to read. It says, hi, guys. Julia here, Oilers fan living in Vancouver. I have to share this anecdote. I was listening to the Oil Stream via Spotify, which I do on Oilers game days. Thanks for the analysis and hype, by the way. What a run it's been. I am walking to pick up my son from school and listening to the part about Canucks fans being salty and obsessed and how they need to move on. Couldn't agree more. Pause the show to pick up my son. His school is beside Rogers Arena in Vancouver. We're walking home to our apartment, also beside Rogers and Van. I'm wearing a Gretzky jersey. We're minding our own business. All of a sudden, two guys decked out in Canucks gear come up to me while I'm with my 7-year-old and start taunting us. Florida in 4. You have a one-man team, etc., etc. It was so odd since their team has been out of the playoffs for weeks now, but very telling where some of these fans are at. Move on, indeed. Who hurt them? Thanks again for the show. Oilers in 5 from Julia in Van. I was talking with Dusty about it, and you saw Gaz, people coming after and teeing off. I know he went on Nation, and that's like fans for fans, right? And Gaz is a former Oiler, and he played his most hockey in the NHL as an Oiler, but he kind of teed off and said what he felt about Vancouver fans. But we're seeing stuff like this. That story from Julia, like, come on. We had them in the nasty chat on the post-game show.
Oh, we had a lot of them.
It's unreal. Yeah.
YouTube Trev went full policeman Trev and was just throwing people in jail.
Corporate
left, right,
Trev.
and center in that, which was great. Yeah, I mean, listen, you don't like to see it with someone with their kid. I mean, just
I know, yeah.
keep your mouth shut. That to me in that instance is like dumb. I mean, I have no problem with fans being passionate. I think it's great.
Yes.
I think it's great that people care about their team. Probably not the ideal situation to do it if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, knowing that you just got knocked off. But hey, people care. But come on, someone with their kid, leave them alone. Don't be a bag. Like, just don't do it.
Don't do that. That's. Oh, here comes Connor. Connor, come say hi. This is Connor from Hudson's White Ave, and you can say something.
I got nothing to say.
Okay, all right, we're doing.
Oilers.
Let's cheers to Cass, and then what do you want to say?
Let's go Oilers.
All right, here we go, Cass. This is for all the Oilers fans out there.
Woo.
Just nice.
That was nice. Oh, that was good. Wow. Okay. Well, I thought you were gonna give me a real one. No, you trickster. All right, Cass, some final thoughts from you heading into this one. I'm going to quickly scour to see if there are any questions specifically, if we can circle to them, but just some final thoughts going into this one as we wind down game changers here.
Yeah, well, I think a tremendous opportunity here to build that momentum back up again, to kind of keep rolling the way you're playing, but put a couple pucks in the net. So it's a huge game. You don't want to go down 0-2 against the Florida Panthers team. That's a good team. Put yourself in a situation where you have to, win a whole bunch more than they do. So, Tommy, big night, big expectations. Just excited for it, as everyone else should be too. Going to be a lot of stress and a lot of fun and a lot of excitement too.
All right, that is Game Changers with Matt Cassian. Cass, great work. We'll catch up with you on the post-game show, okay?
Absolutely, buddy. You have a good one.
All right, Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Here's Connor with the real shot. This better be good, Connor. You're the devil. Oh, my God. Thank you. Come on down to Hudson's White Ave. Connor will take care of you. Great crew here. I saw Peyton, Shiva, Shayla. They're all down here. They'll make sure that you have a beverage and a bite to eat and that you're good to go. Oh, my God. Connor, why did he do that, Trev? He goes from giving me a fake shot of iced tea to Jameson, and I saw somebody text in that I looked cold. I'm not cold. I got my jacket on. I'm feeling fine. But I did not. That has warmed me up, though. I'm going to have some more of this. I need to chase it.
No, that's fair. You handled that better than I would, man. I can't do, besides birdie booze, like, that's the only shooter I can actually, like, take down and not make a face. I would have, especially Jameson, man. That's a tough one.
I didn't need that. They do have birdie booze here. I see it on the shelf, and Connor says they've been just going through it like crazy, which is great. Come on down Hudson's White Ave. They also have, I believe, still 6 o'clock or lager can form. Great to see the support from everybody. Hudson's White and Hudson's Bourbon. Steve from Hudson's Bourbon was like, where the hell do I get those EST hats? And I said, Steve, I think we can help you out with that. Did you see anything chat-wise that you wanted to get to? It looks like it's pretty good. Like, I haven't seen anything
it's
too bad
extremely civil right now. Everyone seems to be having a good old time. No Matthew Tkachuk or his mouth guard. No Paul Maurice. I guess they're getting ready for the game, so that makes sense. But everyone's just a lot of good energy. As which is, I'm happy that's the case, because no one really should be freaking out like we've talked about. It was a great performance by them, albeit they lost. But you can't credit their effort. So yeah, everyone seems to be they're optimistic, and I think that's totally fair.
I like it. I like optimism, positive vibes, manifest that. I'm all for it. All right. 780-218-9999 if you want to text in. And then if you are watching on YouTube and want to get in on the nasty chat, talk amongst yourselves, get in there as well. I am going to throw out the question of the night another time. What area of the game do you want to see improve from the Oilers in Game 2? I know you want to see them to actually score some goals, but outside of the obvious score some goals, the little parts of the game. And Safety Bob texts in. Safety Bob says, I would like to see Skinner step out and stop Florida's break-in. They come up the wing and fire it around to the far side winger coming down the board. Stop it behind the net and then a quick up, and they should have an easier time breaking out. We'll see if Skinner picks up on that and acts upon it and is confident in A, making the stop, and then B, making the quick up and hopefully not getting burnt by it. I know he has in the past, but that's a good one by Safety Bob. Okay, let's go to this one. It's from Rod, I believe. Says the Oilers need to get more shots on the power play. That includes more traffic in front. Hashtag Goilers from Rod. And Rod, I'm with you on that one. I want to see some simplicity, but they got to make a good, quick, smart play to get past that ferocious attacking PK from the Florida Panthers. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999, and, of course, via the nasty chat. I'm just taking a peek over there. I'll have to go back to it in a little bit. All right, Trev, we do have some more audio and video to get to. Where should we go next? I'll leave it up to you here.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind hearing from the Panthers, so I think we'll go there next. Tommy, let's hear from forward Sam Bennett and defenseman Aaron Ekblad.
Obviously, Game 2, we've seen throughout kind of the big game of adjustments. You typically go from Game 1 and move on. How different do you expect tonight's game to look based on that?
I mean, I don't expect too many differences. I know they're going to bring their speed. We hope to have a better start, and we'll take it from there.
Left side, second row, Greg.
Aaron, you've got a long flight ahead of you in a couple of days. Can you give us a sense of how intense these poker games get and a lay of the land on who the good players are?
Yeah, we're actually sitting in the same position as we would be right now if we were at the table, so they get pretty intense. We have a good time with it. It's competitive like you'd expect.
Third row, Matt.
Sam, I'm just curious if you saw what Gretzky said in Game 1 about Barkov being the best defensive forward he's seen since Brian Trottier. And a lot's been made about Barkov over the years as a great defensive player. He's been recognized for it. What separates him, in your opinion, from everyone else on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I actually didn't see what he said, but obviously Barkey's, we've known for a while how special he is and how good he is in all areas of on the ice. I think what separates him is just his ability to do everything. He's an unbelievable skater. He's got the size. He's got incredible hands, and he cares to play defense. He wants to stop the top guys. So he's just a guy that's willing to do anything, and he has the skill set to match everyone.
Front row, Jordan.
Yeah, for both of you guys, just wanted to ask just the impact that Stephen Lawrence has made for you guys both in the room and on the ice when he's playing, especially even that stretch where he was out of the line. He just seemed like the same guy, the same upbeat guy. Just what kind of vibes, I guess, does he bring, and how much does his positivity, his energy help you guys, whether he's playing or not?
All the guys that come in and out of the lineup for us, especially Laurie, always has a smile on his face. One of those guys who's positive, upbeat, optimistic, and I think that helps us a lot. It gives us a lot of energy. You saw last game, I think he had quite a few hits early in the game. He was flying around, so his energy's huge, and we love the way he plays.
Do you want to add anything, Sam?
I think he covered it all.
Okay. Front row, right.
Well, this is mainly Aiden for Aaron, but Sam, I'd like you to answer as well. Defensively, you guys have very limited the top players all 3 rounds of the playoffs, and now you get, Connor McDavid et al. What kind of challenge do you take that as to take on these big guys, and what pride do you take in that you've been able to shut them down thus far?
Absolute pride in the job and the challenge. They got quite a few chances, so I don't know if we would necessarily shut them down. So
We're confident in what Bob can do behind us, which is huge. So that gives us the opportunity to, have courage and have good gaps. And our forwards with their back pressure, the 5-man unit that it takes to take on players like that is ultimately what it comes down to. So not 5-man, 6-man unit with Bob behind us. So it's a team effort for sure.
All right, that was Aaron Ekblad and Sam Bennett, courtesy of Florida Hockey Now. Thank you to the fine folks over there for gathering some audio and video and sharing it with everybody. So credit to and courtesy to Florida Hockey Now. Okay, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. I do have some stats to throw out your way before we go back down to Amerant Bank Arena, and then the Panthers were at their practice facility while the Oilers took the main rink. It's just easier for the Panthers, the home team, to go to their practice facility, Florida in the Miami/Fort Lauderdale/Sunrise area. Everything's like 20 minutes away via car. It's annoying. There's a lot of people in that area and driving from like one suburb to the other, Miami being the hub, Fort Lauderdale being the smaller hub. It's a pain in the ass. So they go to their practice facility, and the Oilers were able to get on the ice a little bit early today at Amerant Bank Arena. Okay, let's go to this stat. The Oilers have made a habit of rebounding from a loss in the 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs, and they'll try to do that again tonight in the final. The club has 5 wins following a loss this postseason, which is tied for second most in a playoff year in franchise history. They had 5 in 1991, and then they had 6 back in 2006. So we'll see if they can make it happen tonight as they try to chase down what the 06 team did following losses in series. That is a neat little stat. And then this one, again, this comes from the National Hockey League's PR department, says Edmonton has split its 4 game ones this postseason, but prior to 2024 had dropped 7 in a row from the 2020 Stanley Cup qualifiers to the 2023 second round. In each of the past 3 instances of suffering a game 1 defeat, and in 5 of the past 6 since 2022, the Oilers have responded by tying the series at 1-1. And I'll drop in one more. The Oilers have dropped one of a final for the 4th time and look to bounce back to win a championship for the 2nd time, following 1985 when the club strung together 4 consecutive wins against the Flyers en route to their 2nd Stanley Cup. All right. Where are we going next? We've got more audio and video. Trev, I will let you decide.
Yeah, he's making his Stanley Cup final debut tonight. Let's go to the defenseman, Vinny Desharnais.
Yeah, obviously it's pretty exciting to play in the Stanley Cup Finals. I was ready the last 4 games to play, and tonight I'll be in. I'll be ready, and I'll just do my job.
What did you see from Florida from the press box?
I thought it was a fast-paced game. I thought it was back and forth. It was a really fast game, and obviously they were physical, but I thought we played a pretty good game, and obviously we can't win without scoring any goals, and I don't think we got to change much. I just think we got to stick to our game, and I believe that when we play our best 60, we can beat any team, and that's what we'll try to do tonight.
How do you and Darnell complement each other? You guys have played together.
Twin towers. I mean, two pretty long sticks, and I think when we work together, we communicate well. I think we make a very good pair. We're hard to play against, and we try to be as physical as possible.
Does this make it easier to come back in? At least you played with Darnell before. If you had not played with Darnell in the regular season, it might be a little more difficult.
I mean, at this point, I feel like when you hang out with all your teammates for so long, at some point you kind of develop a chemistry, even though you haven't played with them. But obviously, when you've played with them, and there's some familiarity over there, so we've built a pretty good relationship. So I'm pretty excited to play with them.
What was it like watching?
It sucks. I'm not gonna lie, it sucks, but. it's I just try to learn as much as I can, and just try to see the small details that can make a difference in my game that I can improve on. And obviously, when you have a 6D man out there like hers that played so great for 4 games, I definitely learned.
Vinny, I think asked about you yesterday, I think it was, and, not being in the lineup, but he said that, he's positive and upbeat, and it seems like whoever gets taken out, they're not happy, as you said, it sucks, but everyone is looking at the bigger picture and staying positive and being a big part of the team.
I think it's a reason why the team is here right now is because I think everyone kind of accepts their role, and the roles are changing throughout the playoffs, and whether it's a guy like Corey Perry who's played over 1,000 games, or whether it's me who's played just a little bit over 100 games, you just got to take your role, and it's more than one player here. It's about the Edmonton Oilers, and we're trying to win a Stanley Cup, and whatever the coach thinks is best for the team tonight happens, and I think everyone takes it pretty positively. And it sucks, everyone wants to play, but there's only 18 spots, and whoever's in is going to be ready.
Then you mentioned the physicality. Do you think you're kind of tailor-made for this series? Florida seems to get it on the forecheck, and you can kind of counter that a little bit.
We'll see tonight.
Yeah.
Do you've taken the long road here, man. You're showing up late to the NHL in your life, and here you are. You're stepping into a Stanley Cup final game. Is that maybe let us in a little on, the accomplishment?
It's definitely something I'm proud of, and I think I've had my moment to kind of enjoy it and kind of sink it in after Game 6 against Dallas, and talked about it with my family and my friends, and it was really cool to kind of talk about it. But I'm not here just to come to the finals. I want to win, and have a job to do, and as much as I will enjoy it, I got to stay dialed in, and I got to be sharp tonight.
I know you're close with your brother. What kind of advice did he give you?
He didn't give me any advice. He was just really happy. He just texted me. He goes, "I'm so proud of you." So that's all I need.
There you go, Vinny Desharnais, a little brotherly love, and he's ready to go. Back in action tonight, paired up with Darnell Nurse. We'll see what he can do, eliminate the mistakes. Like Cass was saying on Game Changers, a couple of mistakes defensively cost the Oilers on 2 of the 3 goals. Obviously, the empty netter, kind of disregarding that a little bit. But, we'll see if Desharnais can simplify his game and just take care of his own zone, especially on chip and chases like that second goal, and then obviously off the rush like the first goal that Florida picked up. All right. I think, do we have any more audio? We have a little bit more to get to, don't we, Trevor? Do you want to hold off on that?
Yeah, no, we have Darnell Nurse who we can hear from, or we could also
I think
go to Paul Maurice as well.
Okay. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go to Darnell Nurse, and then we'll go to some texts, 780-218-9999. Let us know your thoughts, and you can get into the nasty chat. I'm going to look at the nasty chat. It's getting busy in here. It's getting really busy, and we've got a puppy right behind me, and he just got some fresh water. A good vibe building up into game number 2. EPS is here, checking in with Connor, making sure everything's kosher. Good vibe building up, heading into game 2 here at Hudson's White Ave. It's a nice day, a little bit breezy, but other than that, no complaints. Okay, let's go and hear from the Oilers one more time. It is Darnell Nurse.
In a lot of ways, is it trying to replicate what you did the other night, or do you think there's some areas that you can maybe try and add?
Yeah, I think we defended pretty well last game, to be honest, and there was obviously not a lot of. It didn't feel like there was a lot of zone time sustained against, so that's got to continue. I think for us to play at the top of our game, it's having the puck on our stick, playing with our speed, getting down to the O-zone. So there was things to like, but obviously we didn't get the result that we want. So there's room for improvement.
Changes happen in the playoffs sometimes. We've seen it already with this team. Looks like perhaps Cody isn't going to play tonight. What have you seen from guys that are coming and going from the lineup? How do you think Cody would handle that?
Yeah, obviously everyone that's stepped in has stepped up and played really well coming into the lineup for our group throughout the lineup, forwards, the goalies. So for Cece, he's such a big part of this group. He's such a big part of why we're here. He's been such a good player for us for so long, and that confidence that he has can't waver because we're going to need him again.
You played with Vinny before, so what's good playing with him on your side?
Yeah, obviously he's got the long stick. He plays aggressive, very good defensively. Good communication out there too. So there's we play together a little bit over the course of the playoff run and in the regular season. So I think we have a good feel for each other and can be very effective out there when we're on our game. So tonight's it's a fun time to do it again.
You guys are a good cycle team, and you guys did a great job of breaking the cycle. What was the key to that last game and doing it tonight?
I think our feet and our feet and our physicality, just getting in there and trying to break it up. Obviously, it's a team that plays very heavy. They attack, they like to hold on to the puck and be physical. But for us to get in there and break up that cycle, we got to bring a little bit of that element ourselves. So I thought we did a good job of that in game one. Like I said, they're going to ramp up their game here in game two, and we got to ramp up ours too.
Also speaks to the depth around you a little bit here, Darnell. Like at one point, you had a 20-goal scorer not playing here. There are good players all over the place waiting to get into the lineup, and that's maybe part of being a cup contending team.
Yeah, you're playing at this time of the year for a reason, and you have depth and strength throughout the lineup, guys that can step in and make impacts right off the hop. So yeah, it's an important part, especially at this time of the year.
For your game, how do you think went for you in game number one, and what do you kind of look to try to improve on or do in game number two here?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot against, but the chances that were against were either grade A's or a pretty good chance. So just sticking to the process of it. I think if you're playing your game most of the night, I think it took me probably a little bit to get into it, from the physicality standpoint and moving my feet. So that's got to start from the jump.
Yes, it does. Darnell Nurse, a lot of people looking for him to have a better game. And Cody Ceci will be the odd man out after a tough game. Number one, Vinny Desharnais paired up with Darnell Nurse tonight on the Oilers' blue line. Outside of that, we are expecting Sam Carrick in the lineup. I'm looking. The teams are on the ice for warm-up. Haven't seen anything line rush-wise yet from X and a.k.a. Twitter. If I see anything or Trev does, we will point it out. If you see anything or hear anything, pass it our way. I'm watching the screen. I don't see any thing that would indicate who's in or out confirmed just yet. But we do think Sam Carrick will get in, and we do know that Vinny Desharnais will be in for Cody Ceci. 780-218-9999. You could text us. And then let's see. People asking what kind of dog is on the patio. It looks like a golden lab. He's a big puppy. And really nice. He has some water. He's refreshed. He's watching what's going on all around him. Lots of people walking in right now. Good vibe in here for sure. Hudson's, White Avenue. A lot of people eagerly anticipating the start of game number 2 between the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Andrea is saying, Bettman. Why? What happened, Andrea? What did Bettman do to you? 780-218-9999. Did I miss something, Trev? Did I miss something about Bettman? What's going on?
No, I was wondering the same thing. Like, Andrea's just the biggest sweetheart
Salty.
ever, and then all of a sudden, that's all she says all show is that. So I kind of chuckled at that. That was good.
Maverick saying, Tommy, where's your suit? No suit today. We're on a patio on White Avenue, so the suit will wait till game 3 and game 4. We are not on location for games 3 and 4. I will be at the satellite studios and making my way down to Rogers Place for those ones. So just a heads up. And then as the series progresses, however long it progresses, we'll pass along where we will be. I'm anticipating I'm not going to put the onus on Hudson's, but I feel like with how things have gone, probably be back at one of the locations here or Bourbon Street, which has been absolutely tremendous. Great partnership all season long. So a huge thank you to Jay Borley, Adam, Steve, Connor, all the great staff at Hudson's Bourbon and right here on White Avenue. Jimbo says, I hope Vinny has a huge game tonight. Fongwei Reldman texts in, says, being south of the border, I'm forced to listen to an announcer that doesn't know all the players and is incessantly reading from the press guide. Fongwei Reldman, come to the light, my friend. Come to the light, and we'll take good care of you. Really, really good care of you. Okay, let's go to the Panthers side of things as we await the conclusion of warm-up game 2. Closing in on puck drop. It's getting really busy here. The vibe is good on White Avenue here at Hudson's. Everybody's having a great time and is super excited. And let's go inside the Panthers locker room one more time.
Heavyweight battle going on in the top 6. How much can that third line, be an X factor moving forward?
Well, moving forward and looking back, because the game-winning goal in Game 6 is off Tarasenko's stick, and we got two youngerish. I guess A2 is kind of aged out of being called a young player, but you've got two players with not a lot of time in the league, and one of the things about Vladimir is he's a talker and he's a hockey talker. So that's in practice. That's off the ice and certainly on the bench. It's so good to have a veteran guy that is constantly talking to the game. I like that when he played with Barkov too, because both Barkov and Reinhart are like that. You know, they can remember and articulate all the things that just happened on the last shift. So sometimes, and I don't think this happens in the finals, but during the regular season, younger players will sometimes mentally drift in and out of games. They just haven't built the capacity to stay wired for the 60 minutes. I really like the way Vlad engages those guys on the bench and keeps them wired into the game.
Front right, George.
Defensively, you guys have been very good in the first 3 rounds of shutting down the big guns, right? How happy have you been with that, and what kind of challenges do you have now facing you with all the big guys Edmonton's got?
I don't mean to be disrespectful to the other 3 rounds that we played, because we're talking about Kucherov and Pasternak. I mean, brilliant players, but this is a slightly, you said big guns, it's a slightly bigger caliber, more of a Magnum caliber. For all you hunters will appreciate that. Yeah, this is a different caliber. So the idea of shutting down isn't realistic. I'll say all the same things that every coach that's ever gone away, try to limit them time and space. There's a reason for it. We're going to try to limit what they can do, and they will try to limit our best players as well.
Right side, second row.
Related to that, you got a chance to see your PK against their power play. How much did you feel like that was in shutting them down, or at least keeping them off the scoreboard, was your unit? How much was your goaltender, and what maybe do you want to see out of them?
Yeah, it was, our penalty kill, like Edmonton, has been very, very strong through 3 rounds. And when we went into the Tampa series, I think they had the #1 power play in the league at the time. I think where I would have credited the 4 on the ice in the first 3 rounds, you would have to credit the 5 on the ice this round, and certainly had to make some, very, very difficult saves. So it's an interesting question, because so much of this, when you're going through your video, where are you going to allot your time into what you need to fix? So when you look at your penalty, there are pieces that we did like, and then there's some pieces that they're getting some chances that you don't like. How much of that can you actually fix, right? So first and foremost, you want to be really, really good at the structure that you have. And then in this series, there's more off-structure things that we have to worry about. So you cannot, though, then game everything that could happen. It's a real dangerous thing. And I think Chris and Noblock had mentioned that. You want to be real careful about how much you try to cover at this point. I don't know I think we're at game 101. I think we played 103 last year. For the guys over here, I think we had 9 new guys, but we got a pretty good idea of what we're doing. We should have, and it won't matter. There's pieces of that we won't control.
Right side, second row.
I guess Rodriguez was signed to sort of kind of fill the role of Declare, but what has he kind of brought to your team and his ability to play in different kinds of lines and different?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good, because his game has, I like to think, grown and changed. But now what we've been able to find versatility with him. So he has played left and right sides. He's taken face-offs. He's the line that he almost never played with all year is Bennett Kachuk. He came in on Barkov's left, and it was analytically phenomenal for 4 months. So what would I do? I changed it, right? We had injuries, and that was good for us, right? You complained about him at the time, but then he had to go right wing over with Lundell, and that was really good. That's really where Lundell's season kind of took. It was when Rodriguez went with him. And then because of some injuries and some things that happened, he ends up originally on the left side with Bennett and Kachuk. And it's good. Like, his game is really, really good. We started winning a little bit, and then we flipped them. both on their natural sides. Matthew, who's played as left, and they both played left and right so much they'll flip back and forth during the game, and he's a right-hander on it. So he has become this very versatile player for us. So whether it's injury or you're trying to change something or the different match home to road, you can play with that line a little bit. It fit very well with Carter Verhaeghe's history with us over the last 2 years. He rolls with Barkov for a while, it's really good, and then it gets a little stale and he goes down with Bennett, and then that's good. So we kind of been able to keep Carter fresh, but you need people to move around into those holes he leaves, and Evan's been great with that.
Take a few more for.
All right, that was head coach Paul Maurice of the Florida Panthers. The damn wind keeps blowing these lights down here at Hudson's White Ave as we roll along on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. And come on down. There's still plenty of room. A lot of reserve tables. People starting to make their way in, but I think there's going to be lots of room on the patio, and good vibe here already in anticipation of game number 2. I have a few texts I want to get to. I also have a lineup update that we can confirm from JF Chaumont, Daniel Nugent-Bowman, as well. Everybody down in South Florida. So here we go. Here is what the Oilers are going to roll with tonight. McDavid with Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman. Henrique with Draisaitl and Holloway. Draisaitl playing center on that line. McLeod between Fogle and Perry. And then Carrick with Janmark and Brown. DMB had that, earlier today. And Perry is out. Kane, McLeod, Fogle is the third line. And then JF Chaumont says Carrick in with Janmark and Brown. So the third line, McLeod between Fogle and Kane, like we were anticipating. So DMB retweeting his earlier post from earlier in the day, and I get confused off of that. So Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman flanking McDavid. Draisaitl between Holloway and Henrique. McLeod between Fogle and Kane. Carrick in. Janmark and Brown on his wings. Ekholm paired up with Bouchard. Kulak with Broberg. And Nurse with Vinny Desharnais. Of course, Stu Skinner in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. As for the Florida Panthers, here is what we're going to see from them tonight. You've got Alexander Barkov with Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart. Sam Bennett between Matthew Tkachuk and Evan Rodriguez. Anton Lindell with Itu Lostarinen and Vladimir Tarasenko. Kevin Stenlund between Steven Lorentz and Kyle Okposo. On defense, Gustav Forsling with Aaron Ekblad. Nico Mikkola with Brandon Montour. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with Dmitry Kulikov. Ryan Lomberg, Nick Cousins out. In goal, Skinner for the Oil. Bobrovsky for the Panthers. All the waitresses are literally bumping and grinding in front of me, Trev. They're having a great time. They're loving what the DJ's playing. They're ready to go. And they're laughing at me as they do it. Mocking me.
Distractions.
Torturing.
Distractions. That's the only thing I was missing on Saturday were those darn gift cards. But that's okay.
We're out.
Yeah,
we gave them all away.
I know.
They've been. Were people asking for them?
No, I wouldn't mind to just.
You want to dish out the GCs? Yeah, we had a whole bunch of them. And, those things went like hotcakes. They were very, very popular. Very, very popular indeed down at both Hudson's locations. It's just unbelievable. They're dancing, trying to do a damn show here. And they're laughing and giggling. So they're having a good time. Good vibes here at Hudson's White Ave. I have a couple quick stats that I want to throw out. Each of the past 3 teams to rebound from a series opening loss in the final with a winning Game 2 went on to capture the cup and did so to either end lengthy championship waits or secure their first. Tampa Bay did it against Dallas in 2022. St. Louis did it versus Boston in 2019. And the Caps did it against Vegas in 2018. The Panthers are ahead for the third time 1-0 in a series this postseason, following the first round when they ended up winning the first 3 games, and the conference finals when they fell behind 2-1 following consecutive overtime defeats. Florida's Game 2 record in a best-of-7 is at 50-50 split all-time, but they will look to boost that and become the 4th consecutive team to take a 2-0 series lead in the final. So there you go. Some stats to throw your way. YouTube, Trev, some final thoughts from you as we get set for game number 2 down at Amarant Bank Arena in Sunrise, Florida.
Yeah, Tommy, here's hoping the Oilers, they come out the same way. Obviously, the Panthers, they're going to come out way more than the last game. So be prepared for that, but just get to Bobrovsky early. I'm kind of interested by the line changes, like McLeod, Fogle, and Kane. They've done that in the past, and it hasn't necessarily worked. But who knows? Noblock, we've talked about it. He's great at calling the shots. That's why he is the guy. So I'm expecting the Oilers will get on the score sheet tonight, and it'll be a close game. But I'm looking forward to what should be a very, very good game, Tommy.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get to some nasty chats really quickly. Penner's Pancake. I do not like McLeod at center. Keep him on the wing. That will not be the case tonight. And then Pat Janex, PJ says, Oilers got this. And Jimbo says, well, see ya after the Jays game. Oh, Jimbo, that's too funny. And then one last look over in the inbox. Andrea said Bettman earlier. And this text out of Calgary says, got to agree with Andrew on that one. I mean, there's 0% chance Bettman wants a Canadian team to win the Cup, especially against one of his darling Southern teams. That's not the case. I know it's a fun narrative for a lot of people north of the 49th, but Gary Bettman just likes to see money coming in, 32 healthy franchises. He wants a healthy bank account and has gotten one, and then he just wants both teams to have a lot of fun. That's what Gary Bettman wants. TV numbers would help as well. And this year they have been up across the board in the States as well as here in Canada, which is tremendous. And it's also helped because TNT's been great. And then we've also had ESPN featuring hockey, and being a partner of the NHL has bumped up the numbers. The people's give a meter when it comes to hockey south of the border is swayed by being on ESPN and by being on TNT. That broadcast is top notch, I will say. All right, that's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live on location, Hudson's White Avenue. People packing it in. You got lots of room on the patio if you want to come down and watch. But inside, it is getting busy, and people are pumped up for Game 2 between the Oilers and the Panthers. Stanley Cup Final. Will they even up the series? We shall see. Vinny Desharnais in for Cody Ceci. Sam Carrick in for Corey Perry. Can the Oilers solve Sergei Bobrovsky? Only time will tell. For Matt Cassian and YouTube Trev, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for tuning in, whether you listen on iHeart, TuneIn, the Edmonton Sports Talk audio player, Apple Music, or if you watch on YouTube, we appreciate you. Enjoy Game 2. We'll be back for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show right here on EST. Ciao for now.